We're joined on INSEAD Knowledge by Thorben Linneberg, CEO of OrSiSo. Yours is essentially an application that aggregates social network sites. How does it work?
We aggregate about 9 networks, including chat programs like MSN and Yahoo and Gtalk. Besides that, we also add a lot of intelligence as to how the user gets the information filtered based on relevance.
What's your elevator pitch?
My elevator pitch comes from my own life, you could say. I started the company out of frustration about the difficulty in staying on top of all of these social networks, remembering all the usernames and passwords. So I wanted I thought it would be possible to create a software that would take all the pain out of social networking, so that you could get back to enjoy hanging out with your friends online without having to worry about which network they're on. Have you logged in for a week to Friendster or Facebook, and basically get the information from the people you care about immediately.
You're looking to raise about $1.5 million US. How's that proceeding?
So far so good. We started this first Series A round about 2 months ago, and we are in talks with about 7 VCs. And some of them at advanced stage as well.
And you're looking for money from venture capitalists or angel investors?
Well, in the beginning we took from angel investors, and now we're looking for the first Series A round from VCs. I've done 2 rounds of investment since we incorporated in January 2008. So I raised money at incorporation, about 200,000 US, and again a similar amount we raised by the end of 2008. Other than that, we have received some grants from the Singapore government to support our development.
This is a fast-moving sector, the social media sector. Things come and go, they die pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Are you able to move very quickly with this?
Things are moving fast, but the problems that we are trying to solve remain the same. And I think that the clutter of social networks, and the more social networks are coming, more people on the networks, is just creating more noise. And so the need for a service or an application that cuts through the noise and gets you to the core of what social networking is supposed to be about is important. And this is still very much relevant.
You've got some ambitious projections. How realistic are they?
We have looked at to try to find out where we should be, because one thing is to have a vision about what we want to do and a product, and we understand the size of the market, but to really try and figure out where we're going to be in 4 years in terms of users and all of that. What we did was we looked at what is the growth of social networks that are successful. We looked at all of them from Facebook to Friendster. What happened the first 4 or 5 years of their growth? And we realized that the average growth was about 25% per month in that four-year period, compounded. And so we basically went in and created a growth curve that was a little bit more conservative than that, actually, and what we see is still a hockey stick curve that after 3 years it actually really takes off, and we grow from 3 million to 10 million subscribers in a year. This is typically how the networks grow. So although the numbers seem ambitious, I think that what we are trying to achieve is less than 1% of the active users in social media. So we are actually not trying to say that we want to be the biggest in the world. We just want to have a substantial part of the industry.
To what extent, though, is OrSiSo's success dependent on getting a critical mass of, say, 10 million users?
Our success doesn't lie in getting 10 million users. Our success lies in getting 500,000 users. We need to build enough traction in our user growth to kind of crossing the chasm and going from the early adopters into more mainstream market. And this is our fight right now, is to get traction, attract users to the platform that we believe is fantastic and can solve a lot of problems. So I think as soon as we have got our traction, let's say 500,000 users, then I think that the next couple of million users will come a lot easier.
And you would be looking to monetize this through advertising?
We have multiple revenue streams. They are based on 3 principles. First one is advertising, and we have different types of advertising. No traditional banner ads, but contextual advertising based on the social conversation. We also have, let's call it product placements, where we have animated avatars that will or you could say your personal secretary that will come out and announce that you've been tagged in a photo, show you the thumbnail, and at that moment she might wear a Coca-Cola t-shirt. If it's an urgent message, she might have a FedEx box in her hand for you. So we want to try and advertise in that sort of way where we actually blend the social network experience with the brand delivery, and they have to work together. The third revenue model we have is licensing. This platform we are building, we are now porting it to the TV via set-top boxes, and this is very exciting project. And the aim of that is really to create this technology and license it to other cable operators around the world. And we also have subscriptions as a revenue stream.
What sort of revenues would you be looking to generate in, say, 2 to 3 years?
If you look at purely the user-generated revenue, which would be subscriptions and advertising, we're looking at earning about 80 cents per user per year. On top of that, you have the sales of the mobile app on the iPhone App Store. We are building as well. On top of that, you're looking also at licensing revenues to other cable operators, and that could run into the millions in projects. So it's hard to say. Our revenue is tied up to users, but also tied up to the ability to license our technology.
When you look at Twitter and other social media sites, you wonder how they're going to make money, so other than sell it off. So is that basically the dream of entrepreneurs in this sort of sector?
There are many ways to go about this, and I think traditionally in social media, if you are able to attract millions of users, people will invest in your business. I think that story changed somewhat in 2009 because of the world recession, and the whole idea of monetizing users on social networks, it changed, and Facebook dropped valuations from, I think, 15 billion down to a couple of billion. So that has changed, and I think what we are trying to achieve is to have multiple revenue streams that are maybe not only dependent on advertising or only dependent on how many users we attract, but it's also depending on actually creating new technologies and porting them to areas that haven't been done before.
What motivates you as an entrepreneur?
You get an idea out of the blue or wherever it comes from, and actually having the guts to follow through, raise the money, start the company, hire the people, and see this idea become reality by actually having a product. That is really what drives me, and also the people in the company. The people that I work with are very important to me. I've always felt like this with all my jobs, and I see it as a blessing that now I can mold the company and the culture around my own philosophies of how business should be run. So I think the motivating part is really the creation of something new, and also I believe that with OrSiSo we are actually at the bleeding edge of what social networking is going to turn into. I think if you look at the internet as generally speaking, there was a time when search engines became necessary for people to find anything on the internet. And at one point Google came out and they nailed something, and they took over all the other search engines. And I feel that there is, in my opinion certainly, is that there is a similar change in social networking. It has grown and grown and grown. There are 500 million people on social networks today. There are multiple social networks, and something is needed to make it easier to stay at a comfortable level from the user's point of view, to stay on top of it all. So I really believe that what we are trying to do is at the bleeding edge of a change in social networking, and that is super motivating as well.
What advice would you have for other budding entrepreneurs trying to get into this sector?
I think you have to be very excited about the idea yourself, because if you are not 100% in belief that you can make this happen, because any startup, especially internet startups, it's against the odds from day one. Only I think 1 in 100 lasts the first 12 months. So you have to believe it yourself. No one else will believe it if you don't believe it 100%. That's, I think, number one. And for you to believe it, then it comes in, well, it has to be the right idea. The timing has to be correct. I've done other startups where the idea was really good, but it was just the wrong time. So when I started this company, and also with the knowledge and the failures that I have I've seen in the past from the .com industry, and also what I've tried myself, is I just felt that this was my chance. Is that the stars were aligned, and I still believe that is true. Although we have seen a world recession and things have changed a lot, I think you have to choose your moment.
You said the stars were aligned, but you've just had a pretty bad motorbike accident. Did you think of maybe throwing in the towel?
Yeah, that's true. I spent 5 weeks in hospital. I had 4 surgeries, 18 hours on the surgery, and broke my arms and one of my legs. Funnily enough, I will say that this is 3 months ago, almost today. I would say that I'm almost a little bit more happy today than I was 3 months ago. And I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm in pretty good shape. I'm limping a bit, but they won't see that on the camera. I think when things that are this bad happen to you and you get 5 weeks in a hospital bed to think about your life, there are 2 types of people. There are ones that look inward and maybe get depressed and think that everything against them. I'm just happy to be alive, and I think that I have been reminded about the simple things in life again. That walking is not, we take that for granted, and we completely forget about how much we need our hands and legs to do anything. So I've had some stark reminders about how fragile life is. But the way I look at it is, as long as I'm improving and getting better every day, I'm actually extremely happy. I feel more happy than I was before the accident. So for me, it wasn't really a big thing, but seen from the outside, it seems like a big thing. Yeah.
Thorben Linneberg, CEO of OrSiSo, thanks for joining us on INSEAD Knowledge.